I was born to trap my father. Part 1. It has been 3 years since Dad left. We still call very regularly. Dad has a very successful travel blog. He always sends me the articles he posts a few days before they are published. I always knew him as very stoic, but now he is a very active, happy, and very talkative man. Somehow he is different and still the same Dad I grew up with. His relationship with me has changed a lot. We talk a lot more. He gets so excited when he arrives at a new location and shares it with me. Mom and Dad have no relationship whatsoever anymore. He still has her blocked on everything. I once told him Mom wanted me to send him a message. Dad immediately told me that he doesn't want to hear it and not to push it. He did not say it, but I got the feeling that if I pushed, he would cut me off. She does read his travel blog, and I do keep her up to date with what Dad and I talk about. I still have a good relationship with Mom. After Dad told me why he left, I had a talk with Mom. She confessed everything. She told me she loved him and wanted him to stay. That's why she did it. She loved him all those years, even if he was not returning that love. When I asked her if she was happy, she said she was happy with me, but she knew she could have been happier if Dad wanted to stay. If he was the man he was when they met, and she knew he was not that man anymore because of her. And while she felt guilty for forcing him to stay, she also could not let him go. It took a few weeks of emotional talks and fighting. But my relationship with Mom is good now. I still call her regularly, and I visit every other Sunday. Since I'm out of state, this schedule works best for me. She does ask me about Dad. He knows this, and he knows I tell her everything. He just doesn't want to know anything about her in return. Dad and I have been in therapy all this time. We use an online therapy service, and we decided to use the same therapist and disclose our relationship. Our thinking was that the therapist's work would be easier if he knew both sides. A year in, we had a joint session, and that is where I finally expressed my anger. He was the father that was always there, and I always thought loved me. And to have that ripped away out of the blue. I didn't know I was that angry with him. To his credit, Dad never dismissed my feelings, and he agreed that what he did was not fair to me. But he was also very surprised at how I looked at him. He always thought he was a bad father, distant and absent. But that was not my experience with him. He was never the emotional one, but he was the practical one, who has a different way of showing he cared. So it turns out he had an emotional breakthrough. In his last therapy session, thanks to his therapist, he has finally realized that everything he did for all those years was not just out of obligation. And he wasn't as absent as he thought he was. He wasn't Father of the Year, but he was a loving father. Last week, we had a very unexpected video call. Dad sent me an invite out of the blue. At first, I was shocked when I saw him. He had been crying, but the strange thing is that he was smiling, genuinely smiling. We had short pleasantries before he told me what he wanted to say. After years of denying it to himself and everyone around him, he can finally admit that he loves his son. Dad loves me. Dad wants me to meet him in Spain in a month. I already booked before ending the call. He said that while it will take more time and work, he believes this breakthrough has opened the door to him forgiving Mom.